Hey everyone, and welcome to the Move Me to Portugal Starter Series. This is a 5-day series where we're going to be covering all the essential topics that you need to be aware of to plan and to execute a successful move abroad to Portugal. I am so stoked that you're joining us today for day 1 as we dive into some of the foundational steps, 4 specific steps that you absolutely, positively need to take whenever you're seriously planning your move to Portugal. And so today we're going to talk about the essentials. We're going to break down getting your NIF, your NIF, that's your Portuguese tax ID. We're going to talk about opening up a Portuguese bank account. We're going to understand what your taxes are going to look like, because if you're moving to Portugal, you need to understand that. And securing your NISS, which is better known as your Portuguese Social Security number. And now before we jump in, just a quick heads up. Tomorrow, we're going to be exploring the different types of visas and various pathways to Portuguese citizenship. So make sure that you stick around for that conversation. You definitely don't want to miss it. All right, so let's kick things off with the NIF. What exactly is the NIF? Well, simply put, the NIF is your Portuguese tax identification number. So think of it as something like your Social Security number back in the States, but specifically for Portugal. And trust me on this one, this number is essential for pretty much anything and everything that you're gonna do, not only once you land in Portugal, but even as you start to plan for your move to Portugal. And so you may be thinking, why exactly will I use my NIF? What is it for? Well, it's not just a random piece of paperwork. You're gonna need it for the actual next 3 things that we're gonna talk about: your bank account, understanding your taxes, and getting your Social Security number set up here in Portugal. But it goes way beyond that. You're going to use your NIF for pretty much anything like renting or buying property, signing any kind of contract, setting up your utilities, your electricity, your water, your internet, even something as simple as enrolling your kids in school. So basically, if you're going to be living and participating in Portugal, you are going to need an NIF, a NIF, and trust me, not having one can lead to some serious complications and/or frustration and/or delays later on down the road. And that's actually why when we made our move to Portugal, we decided to use a paid service to help us get our NIFs for all 4 of our family members, because you need them for your little kids. It cost us about $150 for each of us in our family, but honestly, it was completely worth it because we didn't have to travel to Portugal in person and go to the Portuguese Finanças office and deal with the whole in-person bureaucratic process ourselves. Plus, the company that we used was professional, trustworthy, super fast. They got downright to the details, and it was so worth the money. So if you're looking for a resource like that, you can check out our trusted professionals that we use in our Move Me to Portugal guide, which I've linked down in the description below. Okay, so next up, let's talk about opening up a Portuguese bank account. Now, you might be thinking, can I just use my US bank account? And while you can do that for a little while, the Portuguese government really wants to see that you have a true fiscal presence in the country and that you're participating in their economy. So having a local bank account is a big part of that. So why should you open up the Portuguese bank account? Well, it makes life way easier for a bunch of things: paying your bills, paying your rent, receiving any income if you're working here in Portugal, and it all just in general becomes simpler. Plus, you avoid a lot of those pesky international transaction fees for wire transfers and ATM withdrawals. That can really get you. So relying solely on your foreign accounts can definitely lead to some optionality in the beginning, but it'll definitely lead to some headaches later on down the road. And listen, you're gonna wanna make sure that you get this one done right, because in our experience, opening up a Portuguese bank account was actually one of the things that took the longest when we were in Singapore and moving to Portugal. Banks here, thankfully, are super strict about verifying your identity, which takes time. And then that first international transfer can take about a week. So you definitely want to give yourself enough time to get this one done and not rush it, especially whenever you're transferring funds for your visa appointment and all the things that are associated to your fiscal representation. Now, if you're scratching your head and wondering, how do I even open a bank account here in Portugal without being there physically to sign the paperwork? Don't worry, we have our trusted partner listed in our Move Me to Portugal guide that is linked in the description below. They can help you with all of that, even getting your bank account remotely and not having to be in the country physically. All right, so let's shift gears and let's talk about taxes. Now, this may not be the most exciting topic, but it's incredibly important to understand. So when you move to a new country, you absolutely need to get some tax advice. Portuguese tax laws can be complex, and you definitely want to avoid any potential for double taxation. Not understanding the tax implications for your move can lead to some pretty significant financial risks down the line, and nobody wants that. When we moved to Portugal, the original non-habitual residency or NHR option was available. Now that's been updated to NHR, what we call 2.0, or what is often called the TISRI. So you really want to make sure that you understand how taxes will work for your specific circumstances before you make your move. And if you're looking for a reliable tax consultant who can help you answer all of your tax questions and navigate this process, our trusted partner that we've mentioned specifically for the NIF and the bank account has an option for you to get tax consultation specifically here in Portugal. And there's a bonus for using that partner. You're going to get $10 off every single purchase that you purchase with them. So if you get your NIF, your bank account, your tax consultant, and the next thing that we're going to talk about, you could get $10 off each and every one of those services. So check out the description below. Finally, let's talk about the NISS. And what is that? Well, the NISS stands for Número de Identificação de Segurança Social, which is basically your Portuguese social security number. I think my Portuguese is getting a little better. Now, who needs one of these? Well, pretty much anyone working in Portugal, whether the company they work for is located physically in Portugal or not. You need to have a social security number, and you need to be paying into the Portuguese social security system. This is actually one of the biggest pain points that we've been hearing from clients that have been moving to Portugal and processing their visas, specifically whenever they came in on a D7 visa recently for their appointments, because while they may have had passive income for their D7, if they showed active income streams, they often needed to have an NISS as well. So you definitely want to make sure if you have any active income that you have an NISS taken care of. In my experience, getting Joseph's NISS honestly was not that great. I tried to apply for him a few times. I even called the Social Security office and navigated Portuguese. I even sent Joseph to their office in Torres Vedras, and for reasons unknown to us, his application kept getting denied. So to be honest, I really should have just gone with the service provider that I used to get our NIF to also get our NISS from the very beginning. That service is also listed in our guide, linked in the description below. And wow, did they save me a lot of time, a lot of energy, and save me from a lot of frustration in getting that NISS sorted. So you can see that getting your NIF, opening a Portuguese bank account, understanding the tax landscape in Portugal, and securing your NISS are absolutely critical first steps in building a solid foundation to get prepared for your move here. Now, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all these initial first steps and you want a clear roadmap and access to our vetted professionals who can really make the process seamless for you, you'll find all these details in our Move Me to Portugal guide, which is linked in the description below. So join us tomorrow where we're going to demystify the various visa options that you have available to move to Portugal, explore the various pathways to potentially achieving Portuguese citizenship. You definitely don't want to miss this one. And thank you so much for watching. We're going to see you in the next video.